These stunts you're about to see are dangerous. They were done by trained professionals in secure environments. Don't attempt any of these stunts, any place, anywhere, or at any time. Welcome Dymond Extreme, the show that gives you a look into extreme lifestyles. Hang on to your seats and prepare to go for the ride of a lifetime. Dymond Extreme is an exciting new show full of action-packed, edge-of-your-seat excitement from start to finish. And it's hosted by Duffner. Dymond Extreme is a show that has people spinning their wheels and doing backflips to watch. Welcome to Dymond Extreme. My name's Jim Duffner and I'm going to be your host for the next 30 minutes. Dymond Extreme is an exciting new show that takes you behind the scenes, up close and personal, into the lifestyles of the extreme. Today we've got an exciting show for you. We're going to head out and see if we can't hook up with some crazy BMXers. But first, we're going to hook up with former two-time national motocross champion, Mickey Dymond.
My name's Mickey Dymond. I grew up in California. My dad got me into motorcycle racing when I was in my early teens, and if it wasn't for my dad and my parents' support, I wouldn't have been able to fulfill what I've done in racing. I wouldn't be still doing it now.
When did you start racing motorcycles?
I started racing in the early 80s, and I really got heavily involved in motocross right away. In the early 80s, motocross was huge in Southern California, so you could race up to 5 times a week. And at that time, I think I was a sophomore in high school when I was really into it. And I started riding a couple days a week, plus I would race at least 3 days a week. And it took me less than a year to go from being a novice to a pro rider. At that point, my dad and my support system was really going strong because my dad's company was doing good and we had the means, and my dad really loved it and helped me to achieve great things in the sport. And you know, we just were racing family for a couple years and did Golden State Series and SoCal Series, and then moved on to the Nationals when I was old enough.
Who were the factories that you rode for?
Mako was my first big sponsor. I rode for Wheelsmith Mako, and then I rode for Mako West, which was the Western factory team, and moved from Mako to Husky, and I rode for them for a couple years in 84 and 85, and in 86 I signed with Honda and I won my first championship. And in 87 I repeated for Honda and won second 125 championship. And then I moved to Yamaha for a couple years, and basically was at my prime, and didn't really, have a lot of regret about those years because I let opportunity slide away and really had no idea what I was sitting on, what kind of talent that I had and opportunity that I had. And, sadly, I have a lot of regret for those years, but still I continued to race and raced into the 90s in Europe and won a bunch of races over those years, but not even being a contender in the championship series again. Really after, 87, I never could have a full season without having some type of an injury or a failure that didn't help me to produce the results that I'd need for a championship series. I raced against a lot of guys that I am starting to ride against again, like Jeff Ward, Kurt Nicole. Every now and then somebody else shows up that's from the old school that gets to do a Supermoto event. Currently, I'm racing the Supermoto Unlimited class in the AMA series. Last year I finished second in the series, and I'm hoping to do a bit better this year and have better results.
Yeah, Mickey Dymond is definitely say one of my heroes growing up as a kid.
Mickey Dymond is the rock star of Supermoto, and he is great for the sport.
Not only did I look at Mickey Dymond, Ricky Johnson, Jean-Michel Bale, a lot of different factory Honda riders growing up, but Mickey was just one of those guys to me that kind of stood out because he was kind of, I call him the Hessian rocker supercross guy because he had long hair, has tattoos, and just a guy who stood out.
Mickey Dymond is an unbelievable rider that's been riding motorcycles his whole life.
Mickey Dymond is absolutely one of the coolest guys in the pits in Supermoto. Two things come to mind when I think of Mickey. Just really nice, easygoing guy with no ego, just a lot of fun. And then the second thing is a riding experience I had with him at the Grange Raceway in Victorville, California. We were out in a practice session, and he came around me coming onto the front straight, and he went around the outside of me and left a black mark as he's lifting the front tire coming out of a turn for 100 feet, and it was just so cool to watch. It was really fun. I mean, he is just in complete control of that motorcycle the entire time he's out there, and definitely a champion and great for the sport of Supermoto.
Just a guy who stood out, you know, and definitely had his own riding style that just kind of always amazed me when I'd watch him ride. You know, he'd do things on a motorcycle that other guys wouldn't do or couldn't do.
It looked real good, make everything look real easy.
Used to be Supercross champion, national champion, and now he's doing Supermoto, and he's one of the smoothest riders I've ever seen ride Supermoto.
He was a motocross rider, to a freestyle rider, to a supermoto rider, and everything he does, he's on the top.
It's really cool to have, you know, past heroes like Mickey Dymond, Jeremy McGrath, Jeff Ward jump into the sport and go out there and battle with me, because that's what people ultimately want to see. People go to a race or they go to a freestyle to be entertained, and if there's guys out there who can put on a good show, then people are going to keep coming back.
Smooth. He is a master of his craft. He is phenomenal at the sport of Supermoto. He is so smooth and effortless, and he goes so fast. It's amazing. It's really fun to watch him, and he is one of the only guys that leaves a black streak out of almost every single corner. I mean, he probably eats up a set of tires every race. I think that the sport is very lucky to have a guy like Mickey Dymond.
I've been around racing all my life. Actually, Jeff Ward and maybe myself, we might be kind of the oldest guys that are doing the Supermoto now, but you know, he's always been there through my motocross racing career as well.
How did you get into Supermoto?
I got into Supermoto coincidentally because my sponsor right now, All Access, I was working for them, and we were making a proposal for AMA for their proposed Supermoto series, and we came up with some ideas, and we pretty much bid the job that they were putting together this series. So we wanted to do it and build the ramps and the staging, and we wanted to do all kinds of stuff. And in the process of doing that, we got a bike and I started riding. It was just a lot of fun, and realized right off the bat that nobody really had a huge advantage going into it. You know, everybody was starting fresh, and so I stuck with it. I still work and that too, but was able to steal away enough time so I could go and get good at it and stop some of the old habits that I'd picked up from being lazy and just being a typical 9-to-5er guy. Anyway, I was able to put together a pretty good program again for myself, become fit, make the time to go out and ride and train.
What's the difference between supermoto and motocross?
Supermoto is really a lot like motocross. You'll have to take a lot of the bike setup real serious. There's a few differences, but basically they're kind of one and the same, you know, as I'm sure road racing is too. The Supermoto bike is basically a motocross bike with a few different things. Suspension's a little bit lower, like almost an inch lower. You've got 17-inch wheels, huge rotor, and a huge front brake system, because you really need to slow down quick. But we use hand guards. We even use a kind of a more aerodynamic front number plate. And this motor is a kit motor, so it's a pretty big motor. It's over 600 cc's. Frame is a little bit different, and it's a little more stout. Standard with the SMR. And then also 17-inch wheel in the back, but we've got 5 inches wide. I have rain tires on this bike right now because we had a race in the rain. The slicks actually is what we usually run, and on the asphalt, that slick is like having, it's like being on a track almost. You have such good grip. Anybody that rides a motorcycle and is really tuned in and at the top of their particular sport of motorcycle racing could transfer into this, and it's complementary of many things. And I believe that down the road here, there's going to be guys that come from Supermoto, or that eventually become Supermoto riders that could transfer back and forth, maybe from motocross to road racing. I would like to see somebody do that, you know, and do it successful. There's not too many people that have, and now that there is not the Grand National Championship that they used to have, you know, like, if you don't remember or don't even know what I'm talking about, watch on any Sunday and you'll see that they had a series that you had to ride a lot of different types of racing to be the Grand National Champion. And I'd like to see something kind of like that, you know. I think that would be really exciting, especially with how many great racers there are in the different motorcycle sports. But you know, that's my take on Supermoto. Really, is it's kind of a mixture of everything, and I really enjoy doing it because it's you know, it's giving me a chance to be competitive and to go and work hard for something. The Supermoto, it's really neat. It's a cool feeling to be able to go really fast and do it real smooth, or, you know, keep your feet up in here, and, you know, slide the bike on acceleration when you're going really fast. And
have you ever been hurt?
I've had my share of injuries, but I've been really fortunate. Had some broken bones.
What kind of bones did you break?
Broken wrist, broken thumb, broken hand, and head injury. Broke my neck. Honestly, I'm one of the fortunate ones, because a lot of guys have had injuries that, you know, they're not able to walk, and I've been lucky, and I can't complain.
Are you married?
I'm married, and I've been married for 14 years.
Does your wife ever get nervous or scared when you race?
She does, but she's not a big fan of it, you know, to begin with. She knows it means a lot to me, and I guess that's enough for her. She's not super concerned about me going out and getting hurt as long as I'm working at it, and I'm focused at doing well, and I'm working hard and practicing and going to the gym, and it's not like, you know, just going out and winging it.
Do you have any kids?
I have 3 great kids. I have 2 boys, Hunter and Trevor, and they're 12 and 10. And then I have a little girl named Ronnie, and she's 6.
Would you want your kids to race motorcycles?
I'm not going to push it unless they really want it. I think that there's a good chance that they will.
Do you think that your wife would want them racing?
I don't think that she would have a major heart attack about it, but I think she would be more concerned about them riding bikes than playing hockey, which is their big thing at the moment. But when you really think about it, you know, is hockey that much nicer to the human body than motorcycles? I don't know. But I don't think she wouldn't have a coronary.
What advice would you give to a kid who was just starting out?
If you're just starting out racing and riding motorcycles, be serious about it, you know? Take it serious. It's serious. To everybody that's achieved anything at it at all has been real serious about it. Try hard and focus, you know, focus yourself on it. You know, quiet your mind and focus it on what you're doing.
What goals have you set for your racing?
I'd like to win the Unlimited Championship, but more importantly right now, I'd like to go out and get that feeling that I had a long time ago when I knew anytime I got on, I could win, and I would win, you know, and you know, that I think other than maybe Ricky Carmichael, very few of us know what that's like, you know, and I'd like to have that for a little bit, you know, at least, you know, a handful of times this year. I don't suppose this will be out before Pikes Peak, so I'll say Pikes Peak. I'd like to win that race. I rode that in practice and really thought it was great, and it is awesome to go and run that hill. It's perfect for a Supermoto. I mean, you have asphalt that's flat out, and you know, you've got an average speed of over 60 miles an hour. You're going 100 miles an hour on some asphalt straights. You're going 100 miles an hour on some dirt roads, and there is some danger there and all that. There's trees off track, and then up above the tree line there's some cliffs and stuff, but man, it's just a kick in the pants. I'm excited about that.
Not only did Mickey win, but he set a new track record. He beat the old track record by over 10 seconds.
I really would like to go out and be on my game and be able to win every time that I go race, and not just against these guys, but against whoever is there. And you know, I think that's what we all want.
After what Mickey did up at Pikes Peak this year, rumor has it he may race a couple national motocrosses. He may be old school, but believe me, none of the current riders have anything on him.
alcohol, smoking on cigarettes. You didn't even look my way. No, you didn't even know my name. Oh, you don't know you love me. You don't know you care. You don't know you need me. Baby, you don't even know I'm there. Got a 57 Chevy, baby, with the 4-speed on the floor. Pick you up, take you for a ride. Now you're begging me to take you home. Hate to use the old cliche, honey, gonna love me all fight. I can get along anyway, 'cause it's another one of those nights. How you
Oh, I can't wait. I hope Mickey does come back and run a couple nationals. I'm getting ready for some good old school, old-fashioned butt kicking. But first, let's go get the guys on the bikes. And I don't mean motorcycles, I mean BMX as in bicycles.
The good news is we caught up with the crazy BMX guys. The bad news is we're out of time for this show, so we're going to have them on the next show. So until then, remember, Iron Extreme is a show that keeps its eye on the extreme.
was a friend of mine, first